Well, good morning. Granny Gear here for Old Guy on a Bike. Question of the day. Are you the invisible cyclist? Today on this Tech Tuesday, we're going to talk about visibility. Now, I don't mean you being able to see like you can through these very, very fine Tifosi sunglasses. No, I am talking about you being visible to other users on the road. If you share the public roadways like I do, even on bike paths in congested areas where people are zipping to and fro and whatnot, making yourself more visible, oh guys, it really is, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. Because people are driving distracted, aren't they? You're on the way to work, you got the cup of coffee, or you're texting, which you shouldn't be doing, but you know people do. The sun's in their eyes, etc. Everybody's in a hurry, etc., etc. And you're rather small and insignificant in a big world of motor vehicles. And so if you can do something to make yourself more visible, well, it just makes sense to do so. Is that a guarantee that you will be safe? No. You know why? Because life does not come along with a guarantee of safety, no matter what you're doing. But as a cyclist, if you can do something to make yourself more visible, well, you really, really should. Now, I think there are two ways to increase your visibility as a cyclist. Number one is the clothing you wear. Black, well, that just blends into the pavement, doesn't it? To steal a line from an animated movie. Yeah, I know that black jersey and outfit looks sexy on you. Black is slimming, and a lot of you guys, yeah, you need to slim, you know what I'm saying? So here's what you do. You're a cyclist, you're driving your car today, you're not on your bike. When you're on the roadway, as a cyclist, I bet you that you noticed other cyclists who are actually riding on the side of the road before maybe other non-cyclists do, because we're kind of tuned into looking for cyclists, right? Which is something natural. You might even want to know, hey, what kind of bike are they riding, or do I know them, etc. So you're going to see a cyclist. When you do, from a distance, you tell me how visible they are depending upon what they're wearing. And if they're wearing a dark muted color, I know they look sexy, they are so less visible than if they're wearing something, well, something like this. A selection of vests. This is what I've heard it's called high-vis yellow. I've heard it called chartreuse, I think. Is that right? I don't know. I had to go look in my Crayola box and see what chartreuse is. High-vis yellow, fluorescent green, whatever you want to call this. I think this is the number one most visible color in just about any condition I can think of. Cloudy, sunny, but in a distant, you will see this color before you'll see almost anything else. But a lot of people don't want to wear this because, well, you know, it ain't sexy. It ain't Rafa. It ain't cool kid at the coffee shop. But cool kids, you want to get to the coffee shop and wearing this, well, maybe that'll help. Also, along the lines of bright colors, I have a fair amount of this, I would call very, very bright pink. When you see this from a distance, it's really not too bad. This is pretty visible as well. Now, I know a lot of you guys saying you wouldn't be caught dead in a pink piece of clothing. Well, I'm a little more confident in myself than you are. I will wear, and I have quite a bit of bright pink stuff. I think it looks good on me, actually. Now, I have a fair amount of orange, too. Now, this isn't quite as visible as the fluorescent green or the pink, but orange is still better than dark blue or brown or black or gray or something. So I have actually a fair amount of orange. This is a bit of a dull orange. Some of the oranges I have in jerseys and windbreakers are a little brighter. So yeah, I wear quite a bit of orange as well. Another color that stands out pretty well, this is kind of a beige or tan shirt, but just solid bright white on a clear day. You'd be surprised. You look and see solid bright white, even like a helmet. As a matter of fact, speaking of helmets, I tend to buy lighter, brighter colored helmets. Why? Because it's a little bouncing beacon, and that white helmet is way more visible than black or gray. And it's also cooler to wear in hot climate areas. The number two thing I think we can do to increase our visibility on the road are daytime running lights. I don't mean a light, front and rear light on your bike, one on the handlebars somewhere, one usually on your seat post or somewhere on the back of your bike, your tool bag, on your frame, etc. Basically what we used to call a blinky. It would typically be a flashing, blinking light, red on the back, clear on the front. And the idea of that is just to make yourself visible down the road, not only for traffic coming behind you, but also for when you're coming into intersections, when you're coming into vehicles that are coming onto your roadway, turning in front of you, etc. The most common cycling interaction with a car is someone that doesn't give the right of way, they don't see you, and they turn in front of you. And so having a bright blinking light on the front of your bike goes a long way. I know I have watched drivers, watching them, I'm approaching them, I don't know if they really see me, and I swear I'll see them at the last minute to tap the brake pedal, and they see that flashing light, and they realize, oh, there's something there. And I very, 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 very seldom, if I'm on a roadway or even a busy bike path, that I don't ride with a blinky. Now here's the thing with blinkies. Some of them suck, okay? They look cool in the bike shop. They look really maybe nice on your bike. They're just about worthless. It's a false sense of that you actually have accomplished something with some of these blinkies, front and rear. Now, here's the deal. Where do you mount it on your bike? Okay, an LED, and these are almost always going to be LED lights, right? Is very directional. So I have seen people take these, usually the cheap rubber long ones with a row of LEDs, and they'll put it on their seat stay, okay? So their seat stays are angled. They're angled like this. So your light now, the beam of your light is focusing this way, up. Well, traffic is straight behind you. So what did you just do? You're signaling to airplanes, maybe semi-truck drivers, but for the most part, people behind you, whatever brightness that light is, and usually they're not very good, it's about 20% of what it would be if it was pointing straight ahead or straight behind. Now you can put it on your seat post a light like that, but if it's still then it's kind of angled down, it's not very effective. You want a light that if you mount it to your seat post, which is my opinion, one of the better places to mount it, and you want it to point straight back. The front of the light's almost always going to be pointing, straight ahead. So here's what you can do. First of all, if you see somebody on a group ride, you're riding behind them, you go, wow, that is an effective blinky, both front and rear, but the rear, usually you'll see the rear because you're in a pack, right? And you go, man, that thing is nuclear. That is one you want to go buy. If you got it, somebody's got this sexy, cool little light on their bike and you get 50 feet away from them, you can't see their blinky anymore, well, neither can a car. And what is the point of that? Unless you just want it to illuminate you in the evening time, okay, then it doesn't need to be so bright. But in the daytime, it has got to reach out and touch someone. Most of these blinkies, well, they simply don't. What do I use? Well, me and Mrs. Granny Gear, we have been using a set of the Trek Bontrager daytime running lights. The Ion series, the Ion 200 and the Flare RT. One's a front light, one's a rear light. Where'd they go? I buried them. I buried them under the vest. This is what we use on all of our bike rides. They are, as far as I'm concerned, this is the best set of daytime running lights, blinkies, on the market, bar none. And I have tried a lot of different blinkies. There's some I haven't tried because I can tell by looking at them, they're crap. Sometimes some of these blinkies, they only last for 2 hours on high flash. Well, I don't know about you. I ride for more than 2 hours. They are very, very bright. I could put this on for the camera, see if I can crush my camera here. This little thing will flash its little bright heart out for hours and hours and hours. As well, the rear. It's a significant little flashy light, let me tell you. Now, I can get 8 hours on these in bright flash mode, and that's not too bad. That covers most of the rides that I will do. If I think I'll be out longer than that, the thing is, these weigh almost nothing. They're very, very small. You can strap 2 of them to your seat post and just turn one on when the other one dies. They have just been exceptionally good blinkies. The front is 200 lumens. That is actually bright enough. I've A couple times I've got caught out where I just need a little bit of light to get home. If you're not riding fast, 200 lumens in the dark is a whole lot better than holding the light from your cell phone out there. You know what I'm saying? So this is not a nighttime light from that standpoint, but it might get you by when you just need a little something something to creep back home. Now the rear, you notice the mount on the rear is angled. So if your seat post is at an angle, this is straight. See if I can show you that. This ends up being straight because it's mounted to your seat post. That's important. You don't want the light facing down. And it's just a rubber mount. This also, I think these match with the Trek Bontrager blender mount system, so you can actually remove this rubber band and replace it if you break it, by the way. It's not hardwired in the light. That's nice. And these will actually clip sometimes to like their own seat pack mounts and front mounts underneath like a stem and stuff, and that's pretty cool. Are they perfect? No, they're not perfect. If you leave this little rubber dust cover for charging open and it gets wet in there because maybe you spray, it'll kill the light. We've killed a couple of them that way by not sealing these. However, if you close it, we've never had one die because of that with these little covers. And you can't lose these, they're attached. They are, what is it, mini USB, micro USB, I can't remember. It's not the more common, more modern USB. I can't remember which one this is. I'll put it up on the screen. It's a little more delicate, and I have had sometimes the charging pins on these break after a long time, and then you can't charge your light. I've also had a couple of these simply, they'll charge, but as soon as you start running them, they just die. But you know, usually I get a couple good seasons out of a set of these. They're not cheap. They're $100 a set. I think they're $120 a set now. But I'll tell you, I have not found anything as light, simple, and effective, and bright, and long-lasting as these. They are my hands-down favorite. Now, there is another set of lights we've been using. These are from Sigma, and I got these actually from a representative from a meeting at Sea Otter. And these are actually pretty good. And I'll put up on the screen which one this is. This is their little tail light, and it is not quite as flashy bright as the Trek one is, the Flare RT, but it's pretty darn close. And it has a removable stretchy band that actually stretches further than the Trek one, which is kind of nice because it fits like a D-shaped or a deep seat post. You know, if you have an arrow seat post, sometimes this one may not be enough to go around it where this one is. Another thing that's nice about this little Sigma light, it actually is a brake light. It has a little accelerometer in it. So when you use your brakes on your bike, it goes from blinky to solid. Now, I don't know if the riders behind you are going to clue into that, and I think the cars could care less, frankly. However, it is interesting, and maybe if that's something that's important to you, then check out this little Sigma light. I'll put the model up if I haven't already on the screen. Now this one, this is the matching front light from the Sigma series. I believe this is the Buster 400. Now this is actually quite a nice little light. Now here, and the reason I point this out is if you want your daytime light to be more than just a blinky, if you want it to also be able to ride into nighttime, oh, okay, this will do all of that. This is at 400 lumens, you can ride pretty good 15 or so miles an hour, and you'll be able to see clearly down the road with 400 lumens. I actually took this on the ride to the Climb to Kaiser ride. I started in the dark for a half an hour or so. This was fine for that in the twilight. I finished in the dark for a half an hour or so, and this was fine in that conditions. It has a flashy mode, of course. It has all of that too. So a nice option. I don't use this as a daytime light all the time because it's a lot heavier than this is. It doesn't last as long either as this is in flashy mode. So I have no reason to carry it. One thing about this light though is it does need to be straight out from your handlebar. In other words, it doesn't sit above your handlebar. So if you have anything mounted there like a bag or something all the time, sometimes these aren't going to work very well because your bag is blocking this. This would be just right in line with your handlebar, right? This is going to sit above your handlebar, and maybe that is important for you. Anyway, just thought I'd mention them. This is the only other series of lights I use, but generally, my gold standard, it's a win for the Trek Bontrager blinkies. All right, that's it, guys. I know, I feel like a hall monitor telling you how you should dress or what you should put on your bike. But honestly, guys, we all want to come home from our rides, don't we? That's the goal. There's never a guarantee of that, is there? Because life changes fast sometimes, and that won't be our fault. Sometimes that's just what happens. But if you can just wear a different colored vest and have a blinking light on your bike, and that ups the odds of you having the ability to get home safely, my goodness, why in the world wouldn't you do that for the people you love, and the people that love you, and just for your own self? All right, that's it for now. You guys have a great week and or weekend. As always, go ride your bikes and maybe think about the fact that you might be the invisible cyclist.